Hello and welcome to Having a Baby. I'm Piroshka Cavell, I'm a midwife and I live and work here in the UK. I'm registered on the Nursing and Midwifery Council website. Please look at the introductory video for having a baby to give you more details about me and what we're doing. This video is about the second stage of labour. Please remember, as always, the information I'm giving you is aimed if you have a low risk, normal pregnancy, you're healthy, baby's healthy, and you're going into labour from sort of 37 weeks going up to 42 weeks, which is considered term here in the UK. If you have a complicated pregnancy and you're high risk and you have a plan in place, please follow that plan as specified. But feel free to use the videos for a reference for pregnancy and labour. And also, if it triggers any questions you want to ask, feel free, leave some feedback and ask those questions. All right, so the second stage. Well done. You've got through the first stage of labour, which really is the hardest stage of labour because you've just got to let it happen. Okay, and all of a sudden you're coming through and you're doing the same, contracting 4 or 5 in 10. Now, one of several things may happen just at the beginning of the second stage and the end of the first stage, and this is called transition. So what may happen? Well, you may feel suddenly really unnecessary. And by unnecessary, I mean you're not sure, you feel a bit anxious, you kind of want to get up and walk around, you want to get away from the room, you don't want to do this anymore. And that's a key sign as midwives. And in my experience, very often when a woman starts to tell me she doesn't want to do it anymore, she can't do it, I know that she's coming up towards the end, which is the pushing stage. Sometimes your contractions will stop. Your body's really kind to you and it gives you a period called what we call a rest and be thankful. Whew. It's been going and going quite some hours now. You're a bit tired and then all of a sudden it just stops. Okay, great. It's a good chance to have a rest, eat and drink something. And in some countries, when this happens, women actively eat a meal so they have enough energy for the pushing stage. So if you feel up to it, great, go for it. And as we've said in other videos about labour, if you can just post anything in, that's great. All right, sometimes you may vomit, really unpleasant, and you may have been vomiting through your labour as well, and that's okay, that's normal, it's just not very nice. But in transition, sometimes you suddenly feel really sick and you vomit. And that's normal, but as I say, not much fun. Okay, all right. And you may just get angry, and that's fine. And you may just want to swear a lot, and that's also okay. You know, we understand. Don't try and hold anything in. It's really important in labour that you feel uninhibited. So let it go. Do whatever you've got to do. Say whatever you want to say. It's fine. Obviously, we don't expect you to be aggressive towards us or abusive towards us. But if you're just letting off steam, let off steam, that's absolutely fine. Now, you may have one of these things happen to you. You may have one or two. Sometimes poor women have all of this happen. Luckily, it doesn't last very long. And you may also, just to add to your joy, get a couple of super, super strong contractions. And that's generally the point when you tell me that you're not doing it. Okay, so this transition period is happening. And what basically is happening is your body is changing gear. Because now in the second stage, this is where you can do something to help the process. All right, so mentally, try and hold on to the fact that now this is your moment, okay? You're going to be able to work with your body. Now, this will sound very strange right now until you're actually in it, but what will happen is that these contractions that you've been having have been tightening and going away, thank goodness. Now, these contractions in the second stage, they will come on. Are you having one? Are you not? And as the contraction gets tighter and tighter and your tummy gets tighter, all of a sudden, you'll want to push. Now, the feeling for this is the same as if you really, really need a poo. This doesn't sound very pleasant, but it's the best way to describe it. And if you've ever been constipated and really trying to poo, that is what you're going to do. You need to go with your body. Now, the first couple, you might get one where at the height of your contraction, that's when it's really intense. Suddenly, you just have a little moment and you think, whoa. And then that will become more intense. The minute that starts to happen, let your midwife know that you feel the urge to push, okay? And because what she'll need to do, sometimes she might just watch a couple of contractions and see what's happening, see if there's any signs on the outside. So she'll be looking at your vagina to see if there's any movement there or if there's any bulging. Sometimes they'll want to examine you just to make sure that there's no cervix in front of that baby's head, okay? So be prepared for that. So let her know, okay? Now this pushing feeling will become more and more intense, okay? And don't be frightened of it. This is really important, okay? This stage is shorter. The first stage of labour is much, much longer, as is the video to tell you about it. This stage is actually shorter. Generally, they let you push for an hour, just over the hour. If you've had an epidural, your cervix may get to fully dilated and you won't feel anything, so they allow you an hour for the head to descend, okay? Because you can't feel anything. When you haven't had an epidural, it works slightly differently. So as you come up to fully, you may be fully for 20 minutes or so before you get the urge to push. You may get it straight away, or you may get it as you're coming up to fully dilated, and that's why we want to check. All right, so these contractions, using your pain relief, using your gas and air. Now, what may happen is as you get to the height of your contraction you want to push, we'll tell you to take the gas and air out, okay? There are different schools of thought on pushing. Some trusts will let you do whatever you want to do, however you want to do it, and just help you by telling you not to push your hands into the bed. Don't push down into the bed. That sucks the baby back up. That's if you're on the bed, okay? If you're on your hands and knees, try and bring your top half up a little bit so your back is not arched, so you're not pushing uphill, all right? If you're squatting, happy days, great. But again, try not to push up. We will do a video on the positions for labour. Try not to tense your bum cheeks. When you have that pushy feeling, it's tempting to just clench your bum because something's coming out of there, and that feels too strange. Try not to. Try and keep your breathing going, and then when you get the pushy feeling, just go with it. Now, in some trusts, they do what they call directed pushing, and it's up to you and your midwife to talk about what's working, and your midwife may use this if she feels that it's not going as it should, maybe it's taking a little bit of time. And that is where you'll see, and you'll probably see this on films and television, well, they'll ask you to take a breath in and hold it, put your chin on your chest, hold on to something at the side of the bed and push down right into your bottom. And again, it brings you back to that trying to push a poo out. Now, if you feel like you're pooing, you're doing a great job. That sounds strange, but in your head, this will make sense when you're actually in this situation. So you're going to keep pushing, keep pushing. You're going to feel that baby's head. You'll feel something inside you, in your vagina. Feel like you've got a cricket ball in your vagina. Imagine that. Okay. And then what will happen? That baby's head will come down, and the baby's coming down. It's come through your pelvis. The baby's head is coming into the vagina. And now this pushing feeling will get more intense. You'll feel the baby come over your coccyx. So imagine this is your coccyx here, the very, very bottom of your spine. Can you see that? All right, this is your baby's head. Right, now, what's going to happen? Your baby's head's going to come down. It's got to flatten your coccyx as it comes out. All right? So that's quite an intense thing to do. What may happen at this point is that you'll push, push, push. You'll get it there. Push, push, push. We'll just start to see baby's head coming out. And then the contraction will go, and it will go back. That's fine. That's normal. It's what I call getting the baby around the U-bend. Okay, so you may have a good few pushes before you get that baby round. And again, try and relax those bum cheeks. If you're on the bed, okay, hold on to your bum cheeks. Hold on to the back of your legs, not the front of your legs. It's all to do with maximising the outlet and the way you use your body to make sure you're working with your body, not against it, all right? So this head is now coming out and back and out and back. And then all of a sudden, you'll feel it sit. It won't go back anymore, okay? Now, you're now entering what I call the ring of fire. So if you imagine this is your vagina stretched and you've got a baby's head sat there, all right? Now, that is going to feel a burny and stingy sensation, and it'll make you want to close your legs and clench. This is really important that you try and relax at this point. Now, you may be sat for a few minutes with the baby's head there. Try and relax, because what it's doing is nature's way of stretching your perineum. Your perineum is the gap between your vagina and your bum hole, okay, that bit of skin there. And that's stretched right out now. So what we're trying to do is for that to relax, okay? All right, and now you'll get another feeling to push, all right? So you're gonna wanna push, but what will happen is you'll get so far, you'll feel the burning sting, and now this point, generally, you know, your baby's coming out, and it will come out. So if you can relax and breathe, and very often at this point, and each midwife differs, but at that point, as you go into the Bernie sting and you feel your next contraction, give a little push and then blow. And listen to your midwife. She's going to get you to breathe, because once the baby's head is on the perineum and it starts to push through, so it's just that last little bit, if you can breathe at that point, listen to your midwife and let that head come out, okay? That will minimize the damage to you, hopefully. All right. Other things that may happen at this point, if it's very tight and the baby's stuck and the baby's been sat there for a little while and in spite of the pushing, nothing's happening, they may offer to do an episiotomy. Now, an episiotomy is when they cut down the side of your vagina and your perineum. It's a little cut, it's done with scissors, okay? All right, they give you some lignocaine, which is a local anaesthetic, before they do it, all right? And that's just to make the outlet wider so that the baby comes out, okay? Sometimes, if you push through, you may tear, all right, and you will be offered to be sutured once you've had the baby. That can happen, and it's, you know, it's not your fault. It's just sometimes that's what happens. All right, we're all made differently. Our skin is all different. But if you can stay as calm as possible and as relaxed as possible, and it sounds impossible, when you're at that point, then that's going to help you minimise the damage, okay? And all the time that you've been nice and relaxed will help you be able to cope with this bit. Baby's head's out. Generally what happens, baby's head comes out, baby's looking down. We imagine the eyeballs are here, okay? All right, and then baby will turn. And we call it restitution. The baby will turn to one side because baby's now turning to get its shoulders out of your vagina, okay? All right? Now, some midwives will hold onto the baby's head and get you to do a push and help the baby out. Some midwives will just hold their heads there and get you to push, and baby will come out on its own. Okay. Very rarely there is an incident called shoulder dystocia, and that is when you're pushing, baby's head comes out and then goes back in. What's happened here is that the baby's shoulder on the top, which is nearest to your tummy, is stuck under your pubic bone. Okay, so it's not that your baby's really fat, it's actually that the shoulder's stuck. In this situation, your midwife will call for help. Some other people are coming and we'll do some manoeuvres to manoeuvre baby out. We'll talk more about that in our emergency and complications of labour video. Okay, so for you, you've pushed this little person out. Congratulations, you have had a baby and you have got through the second stage of labour. And after that comes the placenta, and we'll talk to you about that in our third stage of labour.